Before we jump into the show, this episode is sponsored by Dano. Feeling stuck? Need a boost? Head to the show notes after the episode and grab your free call with me. Discover how to crush your goals, book workshops, and explore life-changing mindset programs. Get ready to unleash your full potential. Your future self is waiting to meet you. Okay, let's get this pod party started. Hey, thanks for hanging out for Speedy Sunday with me today. I'm going to share a quick tip with you, and it has an acronym. I'm obsessed with acronyms because it is easy for your brain to remember. When you can create a little catchy acronym, it's a story that plays back in your brain when you say the acronym. If you ever had the math acronym, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to know when you do things inside and outside the parentheses in math class. That has stayed with me forever, and I'm not a huge fan of math, but I know exactly the order of operation because of that catchy acronym. I love acronyms. They're great and easy for you to remember and your student, your athletes to say, this is what I do, a little story in their brain. So here's the acronym, WIN, W-I-N. What is needed? I want you to take this acronym and put it into your student athlete's life. How do we do that? A couple ways. You can do it as their parent and think, what do I need to do to help them win? What is needed? How can I show up as the most supportive parent? What is needed here? How do I act before the game, after the game, during the game? Another way you can think about what is needed to win and use this win strategy is to ask your athlete. This, in my opinion, is the best way to use win. We think we know sometimes what our athletes need, and we have traveled the journey before them, but I cannot tell you how many times a parent has said to me, well, I'm really confident I did this when I was an athlete. I don't know why they just won't do this. They're not you. They have their own unique journey. It is different from when you were younger to when they are playing sports now. There's so many different things that come into play. They have seen things and done things probably very differently than you did related to technology. They're looking at things in a way that we maybe didn't do when we were playing sports at their age, if we're comparing. So asking your athlete what is needed is a great way to figure out what do they need. Now, when you go up to your athlete and say, what do you need? They probably will be like, what are you talking about? What is needed to win? What do you mean by that, mom, dad, whoever is asking the question, right? Instead of saying to your athlete, hey, Danny, can you tell me exactly what is needed in order for you to win? W-I-N, what is needed? Because I want you to have that before your game, during your game, after your game. I want to show up as the best version of me. That's not going to work. He's going to look at you and say, what? Probably get an eye roll or two. Instead, I want you to say to your athlete, think of a time when you had the best practice or the best performance in your game, your competition, your sport, whatever it was, the best. And it's okay if they had some mistakes in there. It's probably not a perfect game, but what they consider to be the best. Maybe they didn't even win that game, but they played amazing on defense, or they did something in that game where they really felt that they showed up as their true best self as an athlete. I want you to ask them to just write it out, just like they were journaling, writing a little story. The next thing I want you to say to them is, can you think back? What did you do before the game? What were you thinking during the game? What were you thinking after? Is there anything that you did that helped you in that game to get to that place? And if your child isn't somebody that likes to write, like my youngest son is not a huge fan of writing because of his dyslexia, have them verbally talk to you about it. Have them just tell you about it. You can take notes or just take it all in and listen. Have a conversation. And when they tell you those things, then you can create that what is needed strategy in order to show up as the best version of themselves before practice, before a game, during a game, after a game. I would encourage you to tell them to start with just one thing. Create the routine. Create a routine for what is needed. Start with that. And then you can move on to implementing it. Maybe you only implement one thing at a time. Do not try to do all of the things at once. I hope you steal this what is needed WIN acronym and put it into your life and the life of your student athlete. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Whether you are going to coach, teach, cheer from the stands, or hit the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show because we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and some sanity in our busy lives. Go unleash that champion within you, one step at a time. I'm rooting for you always.